Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm 35 years old. I am a special education teacher, and I also happen to be on the autism spectrum. I was diagnosed when I was 26, so 9 years ago was when I got my diagnosis. I wanted to make this channel as a place for me to advocate for adults with disabilities, especially autism. But I realized that it's more important for me to talk about real life and relatable issues that are just important to talk about. So let's get started on my first video. Um, I'm going to talk about the idea of accountability. And I'm going to talk about it in regards to social mistakes. Accountability has always been something that I've struggled with, whether it be in my 30s, in my 20s, my teens, what have you. I've always kind of justified and made excuses for my mistakes because I've always felt shame, like a real bad shame for every social mistake that I've made. And as I stated, I wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 26. So it's not been easy, but it's been a journey that I have enjoyed living, because I feel like my autism has definitely helped me in a lot of ways to be a better person in terms of my empathy and my compassion, and then also make me a really good person at relating to um, kids with disabilities too, and I'm able to see things that others might miss. I can go on and on, but I just want to stay on the topic of accountability. So accountability has really been hard for me, um, and I would say it hasn't been until really recent where I've tried to see a shift in how I viewed accountability. Um, I I'm not gonna lie and say that days are not hard because they still are. Um, but I'm learning that it's so important to just take ownership of every mistake that you've made with people, and I've made a ton, a whole like books full, and it's not a shameful thing. A lot of people think it's a shameful thing to hold yourself accountable, but it's really empowering, and it shows a lot of strength in your character. Autism is not my excuse to justify my poor behavior towards others, but it is my reality, and it is a maze that I have to deal with. And understanding social cues and understanding social boundaries is something that I struggle with, and it's never going to be easy, but it's something that I'm going to have to continue to find strategies to help me cope. Um, I am a very sensitive person, and but I'm also a deeply passionate person too. And sometimes it all kind of intertwines itself into other things. So, yeah, um, but I feel like, when you're accountable, you can just grow in a faster manner. Um, I've gone to therapy for the last 4 years, but I would say more recently I've been more engaged in my therapy sessions, um, because I always felt like if I talked too much, it would make me sound like a basket case to my therapist, but I realized that my therapist is only there to help me. Um, and again, I'm not perfect, and I will be the first one to say on video that I've made a ton of social mistakes, and I'll keep saying that again and again. I've hurt people, I've misspoken, what have you. Um, but I realize there's such an importance in honesty and transparency, and that will help me grow. And growth is not a linear process. I'm still going to struggle and have the highs and lows, but it's about, creating a couple different strategies to help myself be better and do better. And I feel like being accountable for my mistakes is a good strategy to have for anyone. Um, I say but I could say being accountable for our mistakes is a good strategy to have for anyone. Um, but also be compassionate. You can say, I really wish the relationship I had with X person was different, and they don't forgive me, but I forgive myself. Um, and that I made these mistakes, and I'm going to reflect on it, and I'm going to grow from it and try to do better. And this isn't to say that we're not going to make the same social mistakes twice, because it can happen. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to make the same mistake twice, blah, blah, blah. It can happen. I've talked to my therapist about it in a very intricate way, and she, you know, these things happen. So we can't be too hard on ourselves for that. But all we can do is kind of like see each mistake and mistakes, etc., as kind of, portraits that we can view from afar and see the creation as a whole, and, kind of look at the imperfections of it and see where maybe as the artist we could have, painted it a little bit better. Um, I just don't want people to be so hard on themselves, especially young kids, when they make social mistakes, and they feel like they just can't fit in. Um, because, sometimes it can be challenging, and, I guess more so social mistakes and like dynamics between like peers and like their friends and stuff. Not, of course, I don't want, kids to feel bad about who they are at their essence, but sometimes like the dynamics between friends can be difficult. So I feel like there's always something that we can learn, even if it might not necessarily be our fault. There's always something that we can take from every situation on how we can improve. Because there's no perfection. No one is perfect in how they interact. No one. We all make mistakes. We all misspeak. Yeah, it's hard, and I know it can be especially hard for people on the autism spectrum, because we have that sense of internal, like we have a lot of guilt in us, and we just feel like the world just does not get who we are, and they don't get our intentions, and we want to have that connection so bad. So I get it, it's hard, but at the end of the day, you can be accountable, but then you can also be compassionate. Self-compassion is definitely key. And learn from every mistake, every hiccup, and just grow from it. So I had a script for this video, but I kind of just threw that out, and I'm speaking from the heart. Learn, just learn from everything that's ever happened to you in life in some respect, no matter big or small. And just know that no one is perfect, and I'm 35 years old, and I still make a lot of social mistakes, and I've hurt a lot of people, but all we can do is just forgive ourselves, learn from what we did, what we could have done differently, and move forward. So accountability is really empowering, and I hope more people can, have that. Maybe a lot of people can have that as a resolution for 2025. If you're watching this video past the new year, just, they can just have it as a life resolution, I guess. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I just talked from the heart in this.